All right. Welcome to another edition. I'm just going to call it the King Harvest Podcast, where we spend time talking with people that have had, let's just say, improvements in their health with the use of cannabis oil extracts. So, with me today is Erica, and she has graciously agreed to sit down with me and have a conversation about her journey. And let's just let's just kick it off. So
Let's
let's go
go.
ahead and, yeah, let's start with just, I call it the origin story. What happened?
So, about 2016, I started having symptoms. I felt like I had the flu all the time. I was really weak. I broke out in a terrible rash on my face. It seemed like the more I was in the sun, the worse it got. It got so bad to the point to where my eyes would even bleed. The skin around my eyes would. Yes.
That's quite a warning sign.
Yes, absolutely. Never really knew of anyone before that had had lupus except for my aunt. She had a little bit different top. So, and the funny thing about lupus is not everybody's markers are going to be the same.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the same symptoms, and it's really not just one test that diagnoses lupus either. It's actually quite a few markers. And the funny thing about lupus is these markers can change. Red and white blood cells can change over time depending on how much inflammation you have. So lupus is really tricky sometimes to pinpoint. And I would say I didn't get the full diagnosis till about 2019, 2020.
So from those initial symptoms, bleeding eyes being a rather severe,
Yes. Yes.
it was a 3-year process to really get kind of clamped down what was going on. What
Right.
what the audience might not know is that lupus is an autoimmune disease, which means some function in your immune system has turned on itself and has turned on certain cells, tissues, or organs in the body. So that's kind of that overview of it, not to get too deep into the weeds on it, but it can show up in many different ways, which I'm sure is why the diagnosis can be pretty tricky. All right, so 2019, what happens?
So I actually start going and seeing a dermatologist. They do a biopsy, and the biopsy did show a marker, a sign for lupus. Then after that, it was multiple blood tests over and over after a period of months, and comparing results, and ultimately, antibodies and everything showed that it was lupus.
So you were pretty much a pincushion for a while.
Yes, yes, absolutely, yeah.
So were they just trying to kick over every rock they could think of
Pretty much, they
for what was
didn't
going on with
know.
you?
Yeah, they didn't know if it was Sjogren's. They didn't know really what it was. For a long time, they just kind of even labeled it as an autoimmune disease. It wasn't specifically lupus at first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kind of that broad spectrum. It's like it's
Yeah,
autoimmune. Well, what
yeah.
the hell? What the hell
You
does
have a
that mean?
connective tissue disease, is basically what they said.
Okay, all right. So, all right, so they kind of pinpoint their diagnosis,
Hmm.
and then what do they recommend, and what do you do?
So for a long time, we first tried Plaquenil, and at the beginning, it kind of messed with my eyesight. So I quit taking that and immediately started taking prednisone. And yeah, as you know, steroid is a pretty nasty drug. It's got a lot of
The
bad side effects.
ultimate anti-inflammatory that they love
Yep.
to prescribe slash overprescribe, but that's their
Yep.
go-to because it can have pretty profound, what seem to be improvements quite quickly. And going back
Yes.
to what you mentioned about inflammation, inflammation is at the basis of any disease. It is part of the mechanism. It's your body and your tissues are grumpy at you, right? So prednisone is like throwing, it's like using a fire hose on a match. It can it can take it out pretty quickly,
Yeah.
right? So how long were you on prednisone? And
Uh,
what were the, I'm going to call them after effects
yeah.
of the use?
So I was probably on prednisone for 3 years. Probably up until just recently, probably about a year ago, actually, I quit taking it. Um, Gaining weight, mood swings, irritability, like you wouldn't believe, insomnia, swelling, you know, it's just a lot of nasty side effects.
All right, so you have that initial response of, wow, I might be feeling better on this. And then
Yeah,
and what was the amount they started you on, and what was kind of your final dose before you really figured out I gotta get off this stuff?
yeah. So I don't exactly remember the milligram, but I know I was taking it at least 2 to 3 times a day. And I was even at times getting shots in between them because my flares were so bad. We couldn't get into remission or get them down or anything.
So your symptoms were raging.
Yes.
Okay. So where do you go next?
Rheumatology.
So that's the next office door you
Yep.
knocked on.
Yep. That's the
Okay.
next specialist. Yep.
So I would imagine you became a pincushion again with blood
Yep.
draws.
Yep.
Okay. And what was that rabbit hole for you?
So at this time, rheumatology, they quit taking, they told me no more prednisone. That's it. It's bad for your bones. No more prednisone. So they took me off of the prednisone, and they wanted to start me back on Plaquenil again.
And what was the benefit of that, and what was the fallout?
So the benefit of that is Plaquenil is more lean towards, they don't really know exactly how it works. It's a malaria drug, but somehow it helps with the immune system, for lupus patients and autoimmune patients.
Here, we don't really know what this does,
Yeah.
but take it.
Yeah.
Trust us. We
Yes.
know better.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say in their defense, they really are doing what they think is good work.
Right.
They're just doing it under circumstances, and I'll just say powers that be that don't make money if
Yep.
you're well. Wink, wink. So I think they're very well meaning. I think in a lot of instances, the approaches are just misguided. So, all right, they've got you back on that. So, what were the side effects of that little ditty?
Definitely an upset stomach, weight loss. I lost about 30 pounds within about 2, 3 months.
Was that because of lack of hunger?
Lack of hunger, and also still dropping water weight and swelling weight from the prednisone as well. It
Oh,
was
yes.
all a combination of everything.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
The prednisone bloat.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It has a rather amphetamine effect into the body. So you feel like you're on speed.
Yep.
So think about the lack of sleep during all that, which of course messes with your circadian biology, which then is another train running
Hmm.
towards a wall,
Yep.
right? So, all right, let's get back to that, the rheumatology story.
Yep.
So
Yep.
how long were you kind of under their care?
I was under their care for about a year.
Okay, and did they do any other interventions besides the original medication?
No.
And did you really have any relief?
No.
So it wasn't really doing what you were hoping.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It's kind of like whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
They just keep whacking away at things until something may or may not work. So it really is quite a guessing game, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so where did you go next?
Actually, I just quit going to the doctor in general. I contacted a doctor in Atlanta. I heard about the cannabis oil and I started doing more research into it. And I thought, okay, maybe kind of like a more internal medicine, natural medicine is what my body needs instead of chemicals and additives and compounds.
That have very nasty side effects.
Exactly.
Some of them can be long term, some of them can be lifelong. In a lot of cases, they don't know enough about the medications to know what the impact will be as you age. Right? Now, what we know at King Harvest and what the cannabis industry understands is that we have an endocannabinoid system, right? And I like to, it's an easy way to understand it. We have our main immune system, right? White blood cells, macrophages, other T cells, right? But then we have the endocannabinoid system. I kind of think of it as like parallel tracks that do different things. And in the endocannabinoid system, right, we have, God, they've identified over 100 different cannabinoids, THC being one of them, right? So we can kind of separate that out from CBDs, kind of in their general form, and then also the introduction of terpenes, and it's like that trifecta of healing. So with the endocannabinoid system, there is a plant that grows on the earth that creates bioidentical compounds that just happen to match what we endogenously, what we make inside, because we make cannabinoids every day. It's not a secret in the industry. It's a secret to most of humanity. And that's part of the reason we do these, is to let the public know that you can either do it in parallel with whatever specialist you're working with or not, right? It's a personal choice. And it sounds like you made the personal choice not to go down the allopathic route as much or as long as you can,
Yeah.
and look to nature, because nature provides. If you have eyes to see and an open mind, you find us. And then we do our best to help to the greatest degree that we're possible, right? So one of the main functions or benefits of CBD in the system is, as opposed to prednisone, anti-inflammatory response. So you're getting the benefit of what you were getting with the pharmaceutical without side effects. Let me restate that a little bit. You do have side effects. You feel better, right? When you can tamp down the inflammation, and as opposed to the example I used with the fire hose putting out a match, this is appropriate levels to get the effect you're looking for, right? Okay, so you call King Harvest.
Yeah.
What are you thinking when you make that phone call? What the hell am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not an uncommon thought when we get questions, especially for people that are really in need and have everything from autoimmune to a whole host of cancers, PTSD, neuropathy, you name it, we get them. And we do our best to find the right protocols to give them the relief. And, you know, they don't like us to say the word healing because they own the word, but let's just say it makes things better.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so you called, you got a hold of, one of our dosing specialists.
Yeah.
In this case, it was Jeff. Jeff's great.
Yeah.
How much time did Jeff spend with you on that first call?
Really as much as I needed. I mean, he stayed on there, if any question I needed answered, he answered it as long as I needed him to be on there. And it wasn't, I was probably on the phone with him maybe 20, 30 minutes, and that's all it took.
Yeah, yeah. He does a great job as the other dosing specialists, of which I am one. We will beat you with the facts.
Yeah.
right? So we have to
Yeah.
tell you that we have to tell you the story. And the story's big. And this story's been going on for thousands of years. Right? The plant's been here a long time. We've been here a long time, right? It's been used medicinally for centuries, probably millennia, but I'm not old enough to remember that. All right, so you explain what's going on. Jeff kind of takes you on a journey. Here are the things that he thinks are going to help
Hmm.
what's going on.
Yep.
Okay, so you say yes. Did you feel like it was a little bit of a gamble?
I did because, I've never done this before. It's a new experience. And so many things didn't work beforehand, and you're just always skeptical.
Yeah, but gun shy and
Yeah.
disappointment are a hard place to move forward with something new, but you trust it.
Yes.
Okay. So you get your products
Yeah.
and what did you start with?
I started with the FECO.
Okay. The
Yep.
full extract?
Yes.
Okay. In the syringes without a
Yes.
needle. It's
Right.
just it's
Right.
just a 1 gram syringe. So for
Yes.
people who might not be familiar with FECO, it stands for full extract cannabis oil, right? So we have quite an expensive and a little bit protected method of extraction. We do strain specific full molecule extract only from flower, which means as opposed to other methods out there that just take all the trimmings and essentially everything that falls off the floor from the recreational side for smoking. We do it from 100% organic flower, extract it organically, and then put into different products, and FECO being the base of everything we do. All right, so I think I covered that pretty well.
Yeah.
So you get your FECO,
Yeah.
and how do you start taking it?
I usually start taking it at night, about a couple hours before bed. And yeah, then just kind of
And was that an indica strain for sleep?
it was. Yes.
Okay. Do you do any sativas for the day, or is the
I
nighttime? Okay,
I
so
do. Uh-huh.
you do that as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
is that also in fecal form?
Well, no, I actually use the bars, the chocolate bars
Okay.
for yes.
Okay, perfect. Right. So we have as you probably know, if you've been to the website kingharvest.org, you know that we make a lot of different preparations for a lot of different people. Some people can go to the FECO, but I tell you, it's a mule kick to the head
Yes.
if you're not careful because it is the full extract. It has not been, I'll just say, watered down or put into products, or like with our tinctures, which are done in organic coconut oil or organic olive oil, which you can do in very small metered doses, which is where we start a lot of people out. We call it the trust walk because we do get a lot of people who have never had any experience with cannabis oils. So if we gave them FECO right out of the gates and they really didn't pay attention to directions, they might lose a day
Yeah.
because it's extremely potent. But with the tinctures, our starting is 300 milligrams in a 1 ounce bottle, which equates to 600 drops total. So you're getting half a milligram per drop. That's pretty much not enough to get a flea high, right? So
Right.
people can get used to it and find out kind of what that therapeutic dose is for them at their pace,
Yeah.
right? So you just kind of went all in.
I did.
Okay. So we typically recommend people start with what would be a grain of rice
Hmm.
size.
Yeah.
So that'll tell the listening audience that this is extremely potent,
Yes.
and you really need to talk to somebody who's qualified and educated on how to work with the public with different conditions, different ages,
Yeah.
different levels of fear they might have around it.
Yeah.
So that's why we call our tinctures the trust walk. So we can then bring them in, we can calm their fears and get them started on a road to feeling better, getting better, better relationships, better. Like you talk about the effects you had from the prednisone.
Yeah.
It was disrupting your life.
Yeah.
Short term, fine. Long term, bad. Affecting your bones. We got to have a healthy skeleton in this life. If we don't, we start to break down, right? That is a major part of our internal structure. You screw that up, you've screwed the pooch,
Yes.
right? Okay. So you do it the first night,
Yeah.
and what was your experience?
Probably the best sleep I had had in a long time.
Indica, we also refer to because it can be very sedative and relaxing.
Yes.
Right? Indica we call indicouch
Yeah.
because you just want to relax,
Yes.
right? So in preparation for sleep, when you are supposed to be shutting down and your brain waves are shifting, to have that relaxation, especially when you're not used to it and you're
Yeah.
going to get better sleep, and you wake up the next day and you're like, holy moly, what happened?
Yes.
Okay. So then you got your sativa, which is more makes you more alert, more energetic, right? Great for
Yeah.
thinking and processing. So what was kind of that your aha moment where you go, oh my God, this stuff works
Yeah.
without
It was
without the nasty side effects.
yeah, it was probably just being out, going out one day. We were out shopping and I just had so much energy. I wasn't hurting. My body wasn't hurting. It wasn't stiff. I was hungry. I was ready to just do things. And my husband was like, "You're just a totally different person."
Yeah, yeah, I like this one.
Yes.
That's awesome. So here's the funny thing about discomfort and pain in us mammals is we don't notice it when it's gone,
Yeah.
right? That might sound kind of counterintuitive, but when we feel pain, it's always there in our face.
Yeah.
And then when we don't have that pain, we forget we ever had it. So would that kind of be a good summation of what happened with you?
Absolutely. And, even the depression that came along with the lupus and all the side effects from the medication and everything. Like when you start feeling better inside, you start feeling better outside and it radiates all in general.
Yeah. And how did, besides your husband going, who are you? I
Yeah.
like this one. This is the woman I married,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What were the reactions from, let's say, family and friends when they saw you after you've been using King Harvest
Yes.
products
Yes.
for a period of time?
Don't change. They said whatever you are doing, don't
Keep doing
change.
it.
Yeah, we love this person.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Now, have you been back for any blood tests in the time that you've been using cannabis oils to
I
help you?
have, but it's only to check my kidney function.
Okay. And
Yep.
how is that doing?
It's doing great. My kidney function is doing well. I actually have had, I do take that back. I have had like CBC done, complete blood count done. And
Mhm.
so far, believe it or not, my red and white blood cells, every single number has been normal.
That's great. All right, so let's jump back a little bit on that. When you
Yes.
were doing the blood tests, when you
Yeah.
were on the different medications,
Yeah.
what were those numbers looking like?
All over the place. Especially with the prednisone. The prednisone was the worst one. They were all over the place. Like red might be high, white might be high. Next time, one of them might be high. It was real bad.
Yeah, there's a really good chance that that would
Yeah.
be directly related to dosage, right? So as they
Yes.
increase your
Yes.
milligram levels, it's going to throw different things off at different ratios.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't take those anymore. Now you're on cannabis oil. Let's run through a quick little list. Your husband loves this woman even more
Yes.
because
Yes.
he got his wife back. Family and friends are whatever you're doing, keep doing it. A smart doctor in your home state of Georgia recommended
Yeah.
this because of, the saying, the proof in the pudding, it's very
Yeah.
true. If there ain't no proof, the pudding ain't good, right? And now
Right.
your complete blood panels are balanced and where they should be.
Yeah.
So what are you really trying to say here, Erica?
That it works.
Okay.
Don't be skeptical.
I,
It works.
I'm sorry. I was leading the witness.
No, no, no. It's like you said, the pudding's good.
The pudding's good. The King Harvest pudding
Yep.
delivers.
Yep.
Yeah. Or in your case, chocolate.
That's right.
So I would have to say that your journey has been good and bad.
Yes.
You started out bad and you ended up good,
Yes.
which is always our objective at King Harvest. So is there anything else you want to kind of add to this? Because I tell you, it's a great story. And once again, I
Uh,
really appreciate you coming on and telling this, because there's going to be somebody
yeah.
that is going to hear this and
Yeah.
watch this who may not have lupus
Yeah.
as a family member, a friend, or a loved one who's struggling with it,
Yeah.
probably in the same way you did, and found that there are other answers out there. Sorry, I did your closing.
That's okay. That is okay.
So anything you want to add about your experience with us?
Just like you said, the proof is in your products. If you're skeptical, try it. What do you have to lose? But I guarantee you, um, you're not going to be losing anything. If anything, you'll just be gaining your life back.
Well, I think that's a pretty good summation.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's go and end it there.
Yes.
Once again, appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
that smile tells a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
Thank you.
thanks for this.
Thank you, Cody.
Have a great day.
You too.
Talk again.
Bye.
Bye. All right.